Hi there. So I just wanted to share my experience installing this Iron Pro Baluster. These are the rods and all the hardware components to them. So this is the kit for the level floors. This is where I'm installing them, and I've never done this before, no prior experience. I will probably never do it again, but it was very doable. There's some downstairs, so I just wanted to share my experience and help you guys out there that are watching this video to make this a faster project. And there's good videos on the company's website explaining how to do it, but this is probably there's a couple of tips that would have helped me a lot, especially with the first areas that I tackled. So the first one is to the manufacturers. The boxes are just impossible to take out in a timely manner. I mean, they're just horrible little pieces of plastic that you have to spend time in them and kind of take them apart. So if those were made in a way that you can just pull them apart easily, you will probably save, I don't know, maybe a tenth or a 20th of your time. The second one is that the videos on the web page do, and on YouTube, they do say that you have to measure the balusters and cut them in specific length from this component. This is the one that goes up here with another bracket, and they do say how many inches below and so forth, but they don't tell you why. And the reason why is that, I mean, it may be obvious to them, but it wasn't to me until I realized it, and I had already done probably 20% of my work, is that when you insert this cylindrical part inside this square component, you want it to, when you put it in, you want it to slide out as it's resting. Let me try to do this with one hand. Pardon me, I'm doing the video by myself, but when this goes in, and there's another component that goes here, but when this goes in and then it's resting on the bottom component, which I haven't put in yet, then you want it to come out far enough that the only thing that's inside the square component is the cylindrical part. And the reason for that is because you want this to rotate. I'm twisting it. You want this to rotate inside of this square component. Otherwise, when you screw this in, let me try to make this easier to visualize. Otherwise, when you screw this in, and it has to be tightened, this will not rotate. So if you don't have only the cylindrical part going inside of this component, then the whole thing will try to rotate, and that is a nightmare because it will come unscrew from the top, and then the whole bracket will turn. So that part was not it was not obvious to me when I was installing it, even though I watched their video a couple of times. The other thing is that in my case, it's very unfortunate that the people that installed these balusters in my house, the original ones, they drilled the hole. This hole is way too deep for the screws that came with the kit. So I had to go to my hardware store and I bought this. I believe these are 3 inches, so they're half an inch longer than the ones that came with the kit. But the key here is that they have to be thin enough to go through this opening, and they have to be a material that will not snap. And I went through different sizes and different models, and if you just buy the wooden ones or the wood screws, the normal ones, they will probably snap. So I found this. If you want to, I'm not trying to advertise anybody or endorse any brands. I have nothing to do with them, but this is what worked for me. This is a Blue Hawk, and these are 3-inch screws, they're probably 9 or 8 size. That's the thickness of the screw, and that worked for me. I did not snap a single one. And the other key part for not snapping them is the torque on your screwdriver. You will come to a number that will work for you, you will hear the clutch kicking in before the screw, before you start stripping the top of the screw, which is something that I didn't do at all because of playing with this. So set it to lower first and then set it to the right number. This is the number that works for me, 16. And it's a very methodical job taking the components out of the boxes. That was very time consuming. And then I took out the balusters. I did it by hand. I did it with a hand saw. An electrical saw left way too much debris around, and because of the thickness of the blade, so I found that it took a little bit more time with the hand saw, but it worked better for me. Hardly any, I haven't vacuumed, and this is all the debris that I had coming out of the hand saw. And then you cut the component, or you cut the bars to size, and then you start screwing the bottom part first, and then you do the top part. I had that tape there to kind of guide me as far as having them all pointing in the same direction, and then you screw them in, and then you insert the rods and you twist them around. The other tip that I have for you guys is when you're twisting this lower part, when the component when you have this rod already in, is when you're screwing this in, don't screw more than when you have a little bit of resistance like there, don't screw more than a quarter of a turn. So I want to turn this around enough that it's aligned with the rails, but not more than that, because it happened to me in one of them. I actually have to go back and fix that. I still have to figure out how to do it, but this started turning because I didn't want to go too tight here. So when I unscrewed it, the whole component started to unscrew. So the good news is, it's actually this one. It was the very first one here upstairs. I have some downstairs, but it was the first one here, and it's still kind of loose. And even though it's very, very, very loose, I'm still trying to take it out because I have to do it again. But the good news is that it will not come off. So it's very, very safe. So I still have to figure out how to do that. But that will be the only one that's still pending. Everything else is very, very tight. There's no rattling. Very, very, very tight. So that's my 2 cents. I hope you guys take advantage of this video, find it beneficial, and it's a doable project for sure.